your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, good evening to you. Scattered showers and storms have once again popped up across parts of central Illinois. We've got a lot of this activity down here into portions of Shelby County, down near Effingham and Cumberland County there as well. There's a little cell here into Douglas County that's developed. So we're going to continue to see these storms just kind of move across parts of the area tonight. But where it is not raining, it is hot. 92 in Champaign compared to the 74 rain-cooled air in Taylorville. With the humidity, though, it feels like 99 degrees. 102 in Paris. We've been dealing with this the last several days. So again, some evening storms possible, otherwise just really muggy. More storms as we head closer to the 4th of July. We'll talk about them coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
Brent Christensen's lawyers want the next phase of the trial to be delayed, while they say it's going to take them 85 hours to review new evidence. Plus, a message went to some parents about a lockdown in a school district, but it was a mistake. What that message was supposed to be about.
To find him and not be able to bring him home is just, it's horrible.
And a woman says her cat ran away and he showed up at a humane society. Why, he could be going home with someone else.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5.
Less than a week before the sentencing phase in the Brent Christensen trial is supposed to start, the defense is asking for a delay. Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini. Jennifer's off tonight. In a motion filed by the defense, they claim new evidence from prosecutors will take about 4 weeks to review. Christensen kidnapped and killed U of I scholar Yang Zhang 2 years ago. He was convicted last week. WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting is live in our newsroom tonight. So, Courtney, why are they saying this is going to take a very long time?
All right, well, Paul, it's because of the time it would take to translate all of it. There are hours upon hours of video evidence that the government plans to present, and all of those video interviews are with Zhang's family and friends, and they're in Chinese and require translations. Now, the defense says prosecutors gave them a thumb drive with even more evidence they plan to use. Now, that evidence took hours just to download. They found about 17 hours worth of video in that evidence, but they said those videos didn't come with translations. An estimate of how long each hour of video would take to translate, 5 hours each. That's a total of 85 hours of work that still needs to be done. And on top of that, the defense attorneys have to review that and come back with a response. Now, the defense is asking that the sentencing phase is either delayed until July 29th or that all of the evidence that still needs to be translated is not allowed in sentencing. Evidence they detailed not be allowed is what they think would take too long to go through. Live in the newsroom, Courtney Bunting, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
All right, Courtney, I assume we expect a response from federal prosecutors, so keep an eye on that and let us know when one pops up. Thanks. Now, we have an update tonight. Danville police have made another arrest in a deadly shooting that happened in April. 22-year-old Tavares Mitchell was arrested in Chicago by the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force. He was wanted for aggravated battery and mob action stemming from the shooting of Roosevelt Anderson. 21-year-old Denzel Aldridge was also arrested in April. He's charged with aggravated battery with a firearm. Danville police are investigating a separate shooting. This happened this morning. A 27-year-old man's being treated at the hospital after being shot. He's expected to be okay, but he gave conflicting information about where and how that shooting happened. He told police he no longer wants to talk and did not want to pursue the incident any further. Anyone with information is now being asked to call police. A mistake in the notification system at Champaign schools had some parents concerned this morning. The district says there's no need to worry. It was human error. A message was sent that said there was a lockdown at Garden Hills Elementary School. It was dated August 2017. When school leaders realized the mistake, they sent a second message asking parents to disregard the first. The initial message was supposed to be about online registration. District leaders want parents to know Champaign schools was not hacked. It was a mistake. A building in Danville is falling, and crews are working to keep it intact. The owners of Collins Tower have been talking about transforming the space for over a year. Last year, they planned to build a 1920s-themed hotel, indoor amusement park, and speakeasy. Now, parts of the street have been blocked because the face of the building is falling. The owners tell us they are trying to rehabilitate that property. The governor continues to celebrate his plan to rebuild Illinois. Today, he traveled through the southern part of the state to tout improvements to infrastructure and a new casino license for Walker's Bluff. Though he's commemorating the bill as a bipartisan effort, some who oppose the measure say money from projects in the bill highlight favoritism for Democrats. WCIA 3's Gabrielle Franklin joins us now from our Capitol newsroom. So, Gabrielle, why are some now crying foul?
Well, Paul, some Republicans are concerned that pet projects for Democratic members of the General Assembly are getting more funding than projects in Republican jurisdictions. Some House Republicans say the capital plan is packed full of pork, referring to pork barrel politics or granting favors in exchange for support. Hundreds of millions in the plan are earmarked for efforts around Chicago, including $400,000 for area dog parks. 257 of the 362-page bill mentions funding around the city. Now, despite concerns about frivolous spending in Democrat-dominated areas, Governor Pritzker says he believes these allocations are fair.
The many roads, the miles of roads all across the state, the bridges, the significant investment necessary is in mostly downstate Illinois. And although there are Democrats in districts across in this area and across downstate Illinois, most of that is represented by Republican representatives and senators. And I'm very much in favor of fairness here. I want to make sure that we're making the investments that are necessary.
Now, the governor says on top of road and rail repair funding, a good portion of funding from the bill will trickle downstate to higher education projects. Now, coming up at 6, we'll take a look at the U of I system and how much they will get from the plan. And we'll talk to one campus about what they plan to do with all that money. Paul?
All right, Gabrielle, thanks. We'll look forward to that report at 6 o'clock. Well, 2 people are claiming ownership over the same cat at a humane society. Why? Proving who he really belongs to is getting complicated. Plus this.
It's just one thing off your checklist of worries.
The Lincoln Museum is trying to make sure all kids in Springfield go to school with the supplies they need. What you're being asked to donate in exchange for a free day at the museum.